transportation systems.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please turn your cell phones to silent. Any additions, deletions to the agenda?
We do have deletion under curriculum, under B, under Ryan's report, the CIS PSO presentation. We're going to take that off for this month and do it another time.
All right.
We're quite ready for it.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda with that correction.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any questions, comments, or concerns? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I guess technically, my silence is my vote, but with only 4, I suppose I could voice it today. Visitor comments. Want to give us the spiel, Jason?
Yeah, sure. You want me to talk now, Mr. Mulder, or?
No, you're on the
Okay.
agenda.
He's on the agenda.
Perfect.
All right.
Get cheated ahead.
Consider the consent agenda. We have the meeting minutes from the previous monthly board meeting, cash flow, including investments, monthly bills paid in the activities accounts. I did not pull up the donations. Donations.
Do you want me to read them to you?
Yes, please.
I can do that to you. We have $500 from Initiative Foundation, another one for $600 from the foundation, one from $1,000 from the foundation, and also from Pillsbury Players for $1,100, and then a couple more from one from the Lions Club for $1,000 for a fishing team, and then another one from Initiative Foundation for $1,000.
Thank you to them.
One was, well, they're all from different, like one's for the book vending machine. author workshop, word work for kids, and weight room updates. Well, that's what the initiative foundations look like.
Okay, beautiful. Also enclosed was the personnel summary sheet. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, any questions, comments, or concerns?
Just
All those-
one, just FYI, we've been pretty fortunate, personnel and hiring. We do have one special ed opening yet that we have not been able to find anybody, but so far filled a lot of even sub positions for people on maternity and stuff. So been doing pretty good there, finding a lot of different tough spots. So
Good.
Saw
pretty
that.
fortunate.
Awesome.
So,
Did we vote?
no, you didn't. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Special board reports with possible action. First, we're going to start with an update on graduation from Principal Mr. Jason Savage. Now is your,
All right, I'll have to be a visitor. So, well, I guess that's next week, is graduation week coming up here, so we will start again with Wednesday, that'll stay fairly traditional. We'll have, on Wednesday, we'll have the senior awards, actually, we'll change that slightly, it'll be awards. So there will be some underclassmen there and some underclassmen families there. And then scholarships, because I would like the top kids in each class to start seeing what happens at the end of it, so they're more motivated to apply for those scholarships and kind of keep pushing forward that way. So we're gonna have some underclassmen families there also. That would be the one minor change there. Baccalaureate will follow that. The area churches will be using the CTC Center for baccalaureate, and then we move to, and we'll have our graduation practice, the first dry run through on Wednesday. On Thursday will be our formal run through, the walk through the school. And then Friday, the ceremony. We plan to have everything outside. So if the weather allows us, we will have it outside. Each graduate will receive 6 tickets. What the 6 tickets allow are 6 people that, for each of those graduates, gets in early to get their seating. So we'll open the doors at 6, whether we're inside or out. And those folks are the only people that can come in between 6 and 6:45. At 6:45, we open it up to the public. So those that like to cut it really close might not get exactly the seat they want, but I wanted to make sure that families kind of got first choice on those seats. We will allow, if we're outside, we'll allow people down on the field with chairs. Off the sides of the graduates, we'll be right in front of the grandstand. That'll be by far the best seat for most people who can handle grandstand. That'll be the best place to be. We hired, again, a professional sound guy while we're still figuring everything out. And I really like that if we end up inside, because I think the sound inside sometimes is the toughest to get right.
well, whatever they're doing at the track meets for sound, you can hear them out at Casey's, so.
That's great.
The
Now, though,
announcements, so.
the problem with that is I used to be able to time it from home, and they're aiming the other way now. So I don't get to hear, I can't time it out for the 300 hurdles or
Yeah.
anything else. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to keep it up there right away. But that should be the major changes. The one thing for the board, and I know it was wanting to get more staff involved in different activities, so there'll be more staff involved in graduation. We're gonna have roll readers, so each roll will have a staff member that comes up and reads their names. That was my way of trying to get more of our staff there at graduation, more people there at graduation for them. And then I don't have to listen to myself talk anymore, so which make myself and other people happy. So.
Also, you as principal won't be reading.
I
the
will be
kids'
I
names.
will be doing all the talk, a lot of the talking. I won't be reading the names
Names,
this time.
okay.
I'll let the staff members each row read those names.
Interesting.
And we
Any
got
questions?
the Europe's on stage and,
Who's on stage?
Yep, Brian will be on stage,
Yeah,
hopefully,
I
Becky
guess.
will be on stage, and then the middle school principal wants to be on stage.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, he'll be on stage also. He'll sit next to Becky.
if he starts crying, just.
Put him on your own.
speaker for a teacher, or you can't say that?
Oh, yeah, well, if you wanna know that, if it's not a secret, Zach Krellis was voted by the class to speak. Jessica Kimmen and Lillian March were the two student speakers that wanted to talk. They submitted their speeches to me, that very nicely done, so I think it'll be a good ceremony. I'm excited for it. Exciting time of year, I love this time of year.
Awesome. Any other questions for Jason? Anything else? Anything else you want to enlighten us with?
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.
We're going to start with curriculum.
It's a long prayer.
We do have a meeting scheduled for this Thursday on the 18th
5:15.
at 5:15.
But we did not meet. If it's as beautiful as it is now, we might be meeting on the sidewalk at least.
That sounds like a maybe.
You'll see I have the curriculum report, or my report there. And then there's a couple of documents as well. There's a staff development budget plan, and then the DLT meeting, which I think is a little further down on the agenda. So just some updates. Spring testing is done, MCA testing is done. They're doing STAR testing this week. So we wrapped up the comprehensive assessments. We have preliminary results on that, and that can be shared within committees, and we can use it for planning purposes. It will be released again beginning of August. Those preliminary results go public, and then benchmark reports come a little farther along after that, towards the end of August. So, STAR testing, like I said, is going on this week. That's K through 8 is doing STAR testing in the spring. So we include our kindergartners on that as well. They do the early literacy test, which includes actually math and reading in it. Even though it's labeled early literacy, it does have math and reading components as well. The next one down, summer school, just to give people an update, we currently have 148 students registered. It's, I think, a little bit further along than where we were last year. Last year we ended with 154. But the last couple of weeks we had a few registrations as they
Stragglers.
towards the end of the school year. In terms of the schedule, it'll be very similar to last year, and I mentioned that at the last board meeting as well. We did get an additional grant for some camps in the afternoon through the Minnesota Department of Ed. That I think Missy mentioned last time. We've done the planning on those pieces. It includes some transportation to do some field trips with some of those camps. And so those are being registered right now. We have quite a few students registering for them. The third one on there, the professional development. The staff development committee met last week and looked at the 23-24 tentative schedule. We have the dates obviously set in the calendar, but starting to look at what are those workshop pieces and components that are going to be offered both elementary and secondary throughout the school year. Elementary core teachers and some interventionists will be doing letters training, which is the literacy training around the science of reading. And so they'll be doing that. They'll be doing volume 1 next year. That will take the bulk of their time in terms of their staff development days. And then they're doing it in their ACP project as well. So, and then in addition to some of those pieces around the literacy part, we're going to be looking at K-12, some of the technology pieces to help our teachers around. It's an app called Clever, which Clever is a single user sign-on. It's to make it more efficient in the classroom. We have it loaded. It's being used right now, but there's more professional development to help teachers utilize that. And then the other one is our filter Bloxy, looking at what we can do to provide more professional development with the teacher resources on it. And then there's a parent side as well. And so we're looking to put a series together of how parents can work through that filtering part. And they have some choice in what they want to put on there at home. So some cool things coming out of it. The fourth one is a career pathway programming. We've been part of the career cohort the last 2 years. We will continue that again next year. Working with Sourcewell. One of the things that we're working on right now is the application or the resource for career investigation in some of those outside resources around exploring careers, what kind of job outlooks are out there for careers. The system we've had in the past is a Minnesota-based one. This one is called School Links, and it's nationwide. So it's a little bit bigger, a little bit more robust system. We will include things like scholarship information for our seniors. We'll track some of those pieces. We'll also do that connection to universities or post-secondary institutions that need that kid's transcript. So it will automatically send and make those connections for schools. So some pretty cool things coming out of that. And then the last one is around that professional, that summer planning part, and some of the things that we have going on there. This is just a little preview to it. We'll talk more about it at the curriculum committee later this week. But we have planning going on in terms of any kind of curricular updates, our school within a school, so our 5th and 6th grade teams pulling together and meeting. And so they'll be meeting over the summer, as well as some middle school electives and our science curriculum as well. So our middle school science curriculum finishing up their implementation stage, and then our high school coming online this summer. The second sheet is the budget for the staff development committee. We're looking at staff development for the district. If you want to take a look at that, the yellow highlights in particular are areas that where the staff development is that 2% set aside. That those areas actually help the other areas of the budget as well. So they help with some of that offset. But some of them that are in there, the staff development, salary staff, the 11 days, we added 2 staff development days as well. So we did earmark some of that dollars for that as a way to help kind of the general budget as well. And then at the bottom, a couple of that continued technology integration support. And then we increased that ECP CIS area. We have more teachers that have taken advantage of ECP this year. So owning their own professional development is a really great thing. So making sure that we're putting it in there. Okay. And then do you want me to do the DLT or do you want to hold off on that?
Can you bring that up? You can do that later.
Yeah.
Bring that up later.
Yep.
We have that. Other thing I want to highlight on that staff, and I know you have it probably in your report, which you can probably skip now because you did it. But we did have 4 days of educational assistant training in that staff development too. So we set aside $25,000 for our paras that they can come in 4 days and we're going to set up some training. We did some of that this year with them as well, but we didn't have dollars set aside under staff development for that. We took that out of general and some ESSER and some things like that. So we're going to use some dollars out of staff development for our paras too. So.
Awesome. Beautiful. Anything else?
Nope.
Any questions for Ryan? Thank you very much. Activities.
We did not meet.
Spring sports are going well, I assume.
Yes, they're well on their way.
Beautiful.
Finally.
Facilities.
We did not meet, but I did hand this out, kind of an update for you, budget on the athletic complex. And we'll probably need to have a meeting here in June at some point, just to kind of give an update on maybe some of the projects in the summer and stuff. If you look at the very last column, one of the last things that we had, that 2 of the last, I guess, bigger things were the dugouts. That we decided to upgrade and make them a little larger with press boxes and such. We were anticipating somewhere between, around that $100,000 bid to come in on that. And it came in at $93,000. So right at kind of where they had estimated it. And we had 2 companies bid that. One was Norson in town here. They were the lowest at $93,000. So we'll have them approve that quote and they'd probably sub out some of those things. They don't do some of the cement and concrete work, so I don't know who their subs are yet. But so that fit into that budget. The other big piece on that would be some of the irrigation. We have some zones out there in the irrigation that we got to do some better, I guess you could say, upgrades on, or some things got damaged in the process, and we got to bore underneath the bleachers because that line got busted and stuff when they put in the bleachers. Don't know why, but maybe it was off. It was off by a few feet, so who knows why. But so we up that budget for that irrigation a little bit. And if you look at the total project at the top was $1.656 million. So with everything upgraded right now, updated, we're at about 1.63. So we're still got some wiggle room there yet. If we have a few things that come in here in the next few months. That's with everything that we know of that, that's even putting some permits and electrical and water out to the dugouts that we had talked about and stuff. So, so we're on course there with the dollars. Obviously, we had hoped to start getting some work started on there, but road restrictions aren't even coming off till May 24th. So with the late summer or late spring and road restrictions, I would anticipate now with the dugout work that we decided to do too, in our meeting, we decided it doesn't make much sense to do some of that work and then maybe screw it up with some other work so it probably won't be done till late July, August at the earliest, and then we'll sod it and seed it. And just because, timelines kind of got pushed back now with our decision to do dugouts and press box and do some of that stuff. So, and then with road restrictions kind of being really late too. So, but that's the update that I have on that.
Weight room.
Any questions on that, I should say?
Sorry.
Okay, and then the weight room, most of the equipment's in. We got to waiting on a couple things, but if you haven't been in there, it's nice and clean and looks really nice. A lot of kids have been. I think I talked to Mr. Clark, who does a lot of the weight room stuff after school, and kids are excited about it. And you get the shiny new car. It's kind of nice to be in there, but it looks a lot better. We got the mirrors in there. We got the stand on the wall, or the stainless steel on the walls, to protect the walls a little bit. The new equipment, and so looks a lot better. And we're just waiting on a couple pieces. And then I did meet with. I think I got the strength coach position through TCO Training House. I think I'm having a Zoom call here this week on that. So I think we have the position there, person through them that's interested in that kind of figured out. So that person should start here hopefully this summer.
Thank you. Any questions on the weight room? Thank you. Next would be personnel. We met on May 9th. The actions kind of opposite of what are there, so we'll take them in order that's on the thing, but that means I'm gonna shuffle papers. We met and, let's see, go backwards. We discussed the district administrative contracts, like the elementary principal, the middle school principal, and the high school principal. We ended up with a 2.5% increase on their salaries and for each year. So other than that, contracts pretty much stay the same as before. So I would make a motion to accept the elementary principal contract.
I'll second.
Any questions, comments, or concerns?
It's 2 school years or 3 school years?
They have a 2-year contract.
Okay, 23, 24, 24.
4,
Yep.
2.5 is standard.
Yep. Anything else? Do we need a roll call vote on that or just a general vote? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The same couldn't be said for the middle school principal contract, so I would make a motion to approve the middle school principal contract.
Second.
Any questions on the middle school principal contract? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And the principal contract for the high school is also there, so I would make a motion to approve the high school principal contract.
I'll second.
Very good, Sarah. Any questions, comments, or concerns on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Dean of Students would be the same. So I would make a motion to accept that. Can I get a second? Any questions, comments, or concerns on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, let me get the school nurse in front of me. Okay, then we discussed the school nurses contract, which we are extending by 3 days at the end of the year, mainly because of the extensive amount of paperwork that's left over for the year. that she needs to update and do,
Vaccination records and sending out to parents.
things like that,
Yeah.
to make sure
There's
everything's
lots of
updated.
paperwork to do that
So,
she needs to do before teachers come back and stuff,
Yes.
because then she gets busy.
I would make a motion that we approve the additional 3 days added to her contract.
Second.
Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then we also discussed the teacher contract, which they ratified and approved. I don't remember which day, but it was
Last
like
Friday.
last week.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion to approve the Education Minnesota District contract with teachers.
I'll
Any
second.
second? Which one of you wants it?
Doesn't matter.
All right, any questions, comments, or concerns on that was, highlights for that is a 2% increase, and then they also get their step, which equals about a 1% increase to their salary for 2023. 2024 is a 2.35% increase. Their 401 or 403B annuity matches went up a bit depending on their years of service. The length of the school year got decreased from 172 days to 169 days. And staff development days went from 8 to 11 days. So they're still basically working the same amount of days. It's just whether they have student contact those days or not. Another thing that was kind of a sticking point in there was got changed is the staff do not need to report until on late start days due to the inclement weather. They come when the students come. And then the blended and online learning, a large section added regarding compensation, training, evaluation, job posting, and licensing when it comes to the online and blended learning. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just kind of.
No, as it grows and you have more
Yeah.
opportunities, they just laid out some guidelines as to the teachers that, as a job posted, because, there's just trainings that they wanted to have, compensation and different things that spelled out a lot better than it used to be.
Any questions, comments, or concerns on the teacher contract? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, then, so we did when we met as a board, we discussed the Education Minnesota contract, teacher contract, the district employees and the principal contracts, which might settle law contracts with the district employees that weren't principals and such. We talked about extending the school nurse contract. Then we had the discussion about the maintenance position, which is right now figured into the budget for next year, but it's still dependent on what comes up and things, because we're not releasing it yet, correct?
Right, I have it in the budget, we can make it work, feel pretty comfortable with where it can be in the budget, but I just told the personnel, legislature's not done, so I just kind of wait and see exactly what they do in the next couple weeks and different things, but I have it in the budget, feel comfortable with where we're at with the line item budget, that it would work in there pretty comfortably.
So is
Which
that
I'm
for
sure
a full
is-
head or a 0.5?
What's that?
Is that for a full head or a 0.5?
That's a 1.0 assistant maintenance, yeah.
With quite a list of job duties.
Yeah,
Which-
it was kind of that 9 to 5
Yeah.
spot where we were short, that 3 to after school type, cleaning road, sidewalks and extra help type
Yep.
thing.
And for the size of school we're getting to be, it's not a bad thing. Then we did the review of the 2023-2024 staff development plan, which Ryan went over earlier. And then after that, we discussed the staff support person of the year, which Mike told me I couldn't say who it was because that hasn't been presented.
We will
So I
announce it
didn't
on
write-
Wednesday.
Yes, because I didn't write the name down, so I wouldn't remember who it was. I told him that.
So kind of a new program. We never really just picked one person. So we had people vote, select nominations, and then administratively we met, took a look at all the nominations and kind of settled on one person.
Without writing it down, I couldn't remember, and then I couldn't screw it up by announcing early. And then after that, we discussed the superintendent evaluation, which is technically time to do, but because we didn't actually finish the evaluation from last year until almost December, he's just kind of still getting into finishing the year, so we're going to delay for a bit and re-bring it up next June, I believe. Or
Probably a
next
little
meeting.
earlier.
Yeah, yeah, we'll start it so that it's
Yeah.
done by
May or
June
June.
30th.
Yeah.
Such is what the personnel committee decided on that. And that was the end of our meeting, I believe. Anything else I forgot? No? Okay. Any questions for the personnel? All right. Policy.
This is the second reading of policy 412, expense reimbursement.
Thank you. Budget.
We didn't mean.
We did
You're in charge
I
now.
Before you leave today, let's kind of see if we can pick a date in June that might work for you guys.
Awesome. Missy, business manager's report.
All right, so we have some updates from the legislature. So what we know so far, we have a 4% increase for revenue next year, and then a 2% the following year. And this is a per pupil formula, so it ties to the formula, and it's going to tie to, they're tying it to the inflation. There's going to be an increase in cross subsidy for special education, but this is going to begin in the 24-25 school year. So they said that there's going to be over 44%, which we're gathering information to see how this looks for us as far as is the 44%. What is the percentage now? Because on my reporting, it doesn't have a percentage listed there. So we're gathering some information on that, and I'll report on that once we learn that. There's some more grant opportunities that they're gonna put out, so we'll be able to apply for some staffing, some curriculum and instruction materials, so the protocols will all be grant-based. Looks like there's gonna be some funding for some unemployment insurance aid, so what we can see is there's gonna be a one-time lump payment, and then there's something in the legislature for ongoing, so we'll know more about that as things continue. Stacy and I attended the Maslow conference up in Duluth last week. There was lots of people, there was lots of speakers, it was good information, and we brought back some good stuff to work on. We are up for a HITA bid, so the HITA is the Health Insurance Transparency Act. So we are out for bid right now for health insurance, and we have a bid opening later this month, so stay tuned on that.
The opening's not this one though, it's just, isn't it, the first reading bit? The opening's not till later.
The bid opening is the end of this month.
Was it?
Yeah, and then we choose it in June. Yep. And then just working on finalizing the budget for FY '24. So, and that will be presented at the June budget committee. And it'll be finalized and approved at the June board meeting. That's my update.
Thank you. Any questions for Missy? All right, thank you. Moving on to other, the DLT meeting scheduled for May 23rd at 3:30.
We do have an agenda for you, if I know, Sarah, you're on that, and Becky, I know Becky struggles coming at that time, but any other board member is welcome to come as well. Here's the agenda items.
Yeah, so you'll have a copy of it in front of you. We'll do new programming updates, things that are coming for next year. Last year, we're gonna do a similar activity in terms of starting that data analysis, so we'll have some of that STAR data in particular, and looking at trend for both cohort and then by grade level. And then we'll do a little preview of our new data system called Prolific. So where this data will, our STAR data and MCAs and everything coming into one system. So.
Nice. Any questions on the DLT meeting? Okay. Survey results due to the school closure.
You have this in front of you. After we had our little social media warning, Ryan and I had a visit, and we talked a little bit about sending out a survey to our staff as to how we maybe handled the situation. So this was the results you have back from them. I passed that out so you can read all the comments on the different things. We basically asked a few questions. We had 64 response from that. We had 4 in early childhood, 27 in the elementary, 20 in the middle school, and 13 in the high school. I just kind of summarized what the majority of the big key talking points were. Question 1, do you feel there was enough detailed information shared in the JMC communication as a staff member? Positives, about 60% said yes, which is not bad under the time restraints that we had to make decisions. Areas that we felt, if you look through them, areas to improve on, email, PA announcement, or a staff meeting to share the details rather than just a JMC message would have been helpful to staff. Even if it was just a separate JMC message, maybe it would have been better. Details of what could have been shared with staff or students could be included in that message or in that meeting. It could be maybe different for different age groups as to maybe what you could say to different groups. Not all staff members were in JMC, which we have no clue why that is, because they should be. So that was something that came out of it. We'll need to explore why a couple of them weren't in JMC.
But weren't in JMC or just hadn't been able to check it because they had students in front of them.
Well, yeah, that's why that, right. But
Okay.
there was a couple that said we didn't get it.
Oh,
Well, they didn't get the JMC message. So,
okay.
but we found that there were a couple that weren't even in this JMC.
Oh, they weren't
System.
in this, okay. That's
So,
what I thought.
you know,
I
we
thought
send
you
out
meant they
early in the
hadn't-
year, make sure you
hadn't
get
had
us
time to
your,
check it.
because all weather-related announcements, all that go through it too.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
but why they didn't get in it, we don't know. But that's something that we have to check on. Concerned that the word threat was used and it was not, and it was too vague. I do not want to share that that was all that was shared, that we were given a notice that something bad would happen. So they were concerned that it was just the word threat and it was vague. Well, that was all that, it wasn't a threat. It was just a warning. So in their mind, there was more to it than that. Well, that's where the meeting could have been, summed up a little bit better of, it wasn't a threat. It wasn't a specific threat. It was just a warning that something was going to happen. So that was kind of the, and the notifying staff prior to students entering the building would have been good if possible. Those are kind of the keys that came out of, if you read those things. Question 2, what were some of the things that worked well that you did or that the offices did for parent pickup? Positives, many stepped up to help. It was mostly calm and people remained calm. It was mostly smooth considering the amount of people that came to pick up students. Some of the negatives that we got out of there that we could improve on. And we knew this even before this came out because we kind of, after the situation, we kind of, we got together and talked, but changing JMC message to maybe not have parents call in to pick up because the system got overloaded and you couldn't answer, you couldn't get in the system. So the JMC message could have said, no need to call in, just come pick up because people couldn't get through. And we got 1,300 parents trying to call all at the same time. There's no phone system that's going to work that fast.
Yeah,
So
at one point, one of the
Yeah.
secretaries had like 98 messages.
Right.
And she never got off the phone.
and
So you
then
have
people
time
were
to
calling, they
check
couldn't
them.
get in. So if you include something in the
So,
JMC
yeah.
message that need to call in, you can just come pick up, or something like that. Add additional staff to help check voicemails at each office if that was something that came out. Pickup stations arranged by grade level and have a sign out sheet ready for them. Students should remain in the classroom as a soft lockdown and remain calm. No specials for students that day. So if you had a situation like that, sometimes they were in Fayette or they're in music, then they didn't know where they were to get them. So a situation like that, maybe you just keep them in their classroom. Question number 3 was a follow-up email to parents and staff summarizing the day, adequate communication. Positives, the timeline of events was well received. It was short, clear, and to the point. Having info from Cass County Sheriff's Office was important to reassure that it was safe. Negatives that came out of that, some people wanted the who and the consequences that were given to individuals. Some of those details were not all figured out yet when that even came out, but also some of those can't be released because of data privacy. They may not know that, but a couple suggested a staff meeting could have been held the next morning to discuss further. So those are kind of the summary of things that came out of that. So all good things, good info. I do know we talked administratively, even with the time restraints of that time and that quick turnaround in that morning. You know, some people didn't realize that we didn't know, maybe people out there knew, but we did not know buses were already out, buses already had kids on them. They were already coming into school. Some people thought, well, why didn't you just keep them on the bus and drive them around? Well, that doesn't work for a bus driver with 40 kids on a bus. And you can't turn them around and send them home because mom and dad, like even Cassie told me, I'm already at work. I'm not home to get my kid off the bus. And
When I'm driving on my road,
you know,
I see kids get picked up on the bus and the parent follows the
Right.
bus out. They're
So
leaving for
they,
work.
they may not figure all those details out. So that's why we brought them into school, because we had thought about all those things that you just can't turn around and drop them off. So things like that. But all in all, the other thing we talked about was even that time frame of one of the things we maybe learned from this situation is even if they say it's Sunday at 7 o'clock at night, unless you can quickly identify the source and quickly identify that it's safe, you probably are not having school. Because it's just very hard to eliminate all the different things that you need to do, even if it is a time frame of a day before. And we talked about it as administratively. It's, you know, if you get something like that, no matter what, you're probably not having school unless you can quickly debunk the situation and tell everybody it's taken care of. And most of the time, you're not going to be able to. So the only thing would be is you're going to make that day up, you know, somewhere down the road.
Well, that was going to be my next question because we never discussed that and I never even thought about it before. But is that like a snow day after, you know?
Well, we were here.
At some point.
It counted.
Today it did, or this time it did.
Right.
But
In
if
the
there was
future, we
another
could-
situation, is that something we'd have to look at adding a day for?
You could. I mean, you know, you were technically here till 1,
Yeah.
even though you
Yeah,
only had
this
about,
time, but
10 people here at 1 o'clock. So, yeah. But hopefully we don't have it again. I think there were a lot of kids that were upset about it because they had a lot of events canceled, they had games canceled, track meets canceled. You know, and we did, you know, take care of the situation that we felt as best we felt that we needed to with the situation. So moving forward, let's hope we don't have it again. So good info.
Is there policies and protocol for punishment on things like that, or is?
Well, you follow our guidelines. You know, there is something spelled out for that, but every situation might be different depending on what they did. You know,
I haven't heard it asked that, like, is it specific?
there's not a set thing because everything's depending on what the person did or how they said it or what they said or what they did. It could be,
whether it's criminal, whether
Right,
it's school
could be,
based, whether it's.
you know, it could be from here all the way to here. I mean, you know.
A lot. All right. Any other questions about this? I'll be interested to read through some of the.
It was kind of interesting because you read one comment and it says,
everything.
it was nice how parents came to the office to pick up. 2 comments later was parents shouldn't come into the office to pick up.
That's normal.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, that's why you do it, but you got to take some of it too, as they don't really, you know. it is-
Throw out the worst and the best
Yeah.
and take the
Yeah.
things.
But there's a lot of
Certain
good
about the
points in
things
there.
that are all.
Right, and some of them we thought of, you know,
Multiple
even
times.
right away, but, you know,
Yeah.
some of them we hadn't, so.
Awesome. Thank you. Elementary rebranding video presentation by Mr. Chad Cool.
Me?
Well, you want to introduce it?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, this is just, again, part of what we're working on with redoing the videos. And you saw the overview video last time, and then we're building separate videos with a little more detailed information for each of the schools. So elementary, middle school are done. High school will come, and then we'll do an early childhood one as well. And again, that's for people who are coming into the district and they have kids of a certain age. They can focus on the school their kids are going to and get a little more detailed information. So that's what this is the elementary one here.
And we did talk a little bit about, you know, rebranding where, you know, it's just not about class sizes. We wanted to talk about all the other things that we do for those programs in there as well. So that was one of the things we talked about last year at our meeting. So I know we talked a little bit about that in this video. So we'll start pushing these out on Facebook, and they're going to be on our website as well.
Again, I'm not trying to be cool, but I need to be able to see
Well, I think the exciting part about being part of Pillager Elementary, we continue to grow, and we have a lot of really positive things going on that I think contribute to that. I told our staff it's really a credit to them, and again, back to the relationships that parents trust they can drop their kids off here, and they're going to be cared for, they're going to be valued, they're going to learn, and that's a really positive thing.
We have interventions for both math and reading at the K-4 level or at the elementary. Those interventions are, with reading, we have our mentor program where students are getting one-to-one attention, and so they have a mentor that's assigned to a mentee working on literacy and reading development. And then we have math intervention as well for K-4. So for any students that are behind or we see a hole that needs to be filled, that's what those interventions are for. They're meant to be ways to get kids caught back up so that they are with their peers. We have about 150 middle school kids mentoring our kindergarten first graders and 50 or so fourth graders that go down to our school readiness building and mentor those kids. What an opportunity that a lot of districts don't have to be able to do that. Because we are one building, we can do that. The space itself is fantastic. We were able to brand new music room, our technology room, the new first grade wing. It's beautiful space. It's funny with space how quickly you fill it, and that's where we're at. Which is it's a fantastic problem to try to solve. We're going to add a 5th section of 2nd grade this upcoming year, and so we'll be at 5 sections of kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. And I remember 20 years ago when I started here, I believe we were 2 sections of kindergarten. So the fact that we're going to be, easily a 5-section school in like I said, K-2 is just again, I believe, a testament to what our teachers and support staff do. We're working on a lot of personalization in all of our subjects of how do we personalize learning for students. Elementary has been working on personalized learning pathways or roadmaps for students to do exploration, to do inquiry, to explore at different things that they're interested in and move at their pace. And so they're looking at different ways to do that in literacy, in mathematics, in science, social studies, all of those areas.
Everybody working together. And when I say everybody, I really mean everybody. And you can't, whether it's a group of kids working together to create a positive classroom along with their teacher, that's what they're doing. They're pulling the sled in that classroom. Whether it's a group of staff coming together around some type of professional development, that's what we're doing. We're pulling that sled to make Pillager the best place it can be. And it comes back to teamwork, and it comes back to relationships again.
I have never been in a district that is so active in that professional development side, and the number of staff members that are looking for ways to make their craft better is amazing.
Group photo, guys.
It's a yearly evaluation kindergarten.
At least tonight can be super. In Super 8's modern rooms with low.
Are you in there, right?
You do. The key commands just were not activated.
My oldest graduated in 2018, and it was their kindergarten year when we went from 2 to 3 sections. And because it happened in like the middle of September, beginning of October, they split some kids out of both of those two and made a third. So it's been that long. And that's when we went from 2 to 3, and now we're at 5. We've grown a lot. So
Yeah, nice video, Chad.
Yeah.
That's a nice job.
it's a great job. Nice job. Any questions on the video? All right, superintendent report.
Not a lot of different items. Elementary track and field day, May 18th for K through 2, May 19th for 3rd and 4th grade. We talked a little bit about support staff year already. Member of the year, that's going to be nominated here, announced Wednesday. STAR testing, we're doing that here May 15th to the 19th. We have a ton of elementary field trips happening this month, different spots, different grades. Kindergarten graduation is on Thursday, May 25th. That's the graduation that really matters. I mean, that's the one that's most important. 1 o'clock is these are in the CTC Center, Mr. Foster, Ingberg, and Loveland. And then at 2 o'clock, we have Bergerson and Ivers. So we have 2 different classes or 2 different times for that. So, and then the last thing I had, which Missy touched on a little bit, is legislation update. We'll have to keep an eye on that here in the next week or 2 and how some of those things play out. Lots of things happening down there in the omnibus education bill with mandates and requirements and different things coming. I mean, that's like every time I turn around, it's another thing that you're going to do. And they're funding some of it now, which a couple weeks ago they weren't going to. So, but is it a one time? Is it not? So it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the next week or 2. So I think that's all I got.
I always find it interesting when they mandate that we do something, but money never follows it, and we just have to find the cash.
And
You
or
know,
if they
it's-
even who asked for it.
Yeah.
A lot of the mandates, none of like MSBA, MREA, MASA, none of them were supportive of them. So who are you listening to? I mean, and then I would say, well, even years ago when I first got into education and in their administration, if you talk to 90% of legislators, they have no clue how schools are financed. None. It's very complicated. It's, even Missy and I, we could sit here and do it every day, and it's, it's pieces that we learn, oh, really, that's different, that's tweaked, So they don't have a clue on how it's funded, except for maybe a couple of them. And so then they vote on these things for funding and mandates, and they don't know what they're voting on. They don't even know, oh, we didn't fund that, or you got to do that. And it's like, they just hold the line, so it's frustrating. But
Any questions for Mr. Malmberg? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.